مرحبا بكم في عالم فيديو وورلد تيوب، هنا حيث يبدأ الإبداع ولا حدود للخيال. نحن نأخذكم في رحلة مليئة بالمغامرات، الأفكار الجديدة واللحظات التي ستغير يومكم. إذا كنتم تبحثون عن محتوى فريد يجمع بين الترفيه، الإلهام والتشويق، فقد وجدتم المكان المناسب. As the setting sun was casting its last golden rays over the Baghdad skyline, Alhazen ibn al-Haytham sat quietly in his humble room, surrounded by his manuscripts and scientific instruments. He was known throughout the Islamic world as a brilliant scientist, a man of vision that was ahead of his time. However, this brilliant mind was besieged not only by the walls that kept him in his home, but by the fear that had settled in his heart ever since he decided to challenge the will of the Caliph al-Hakim. The story began when Alhazen was asked to come to the palace of the Caliph al-Hakim, bi-Amr Allah, in Cairo, after hearing about the man's genius and his ability to find solutions to impossible problems. The Caliph wanted to build a huge project to control the Nile River and direct its waters, and he invited Alhazen to undertake this ambitious project. However, when Alhazen realized that the task was not feasible under the technical conditions available at the time, he took the courage to tell the Caliph the truth. Al-Hakim bi-Amr Allah was a moody man who was intolerant of those who doubted his vision. Instead of accepting Alhazen's scientific opinion, he considered it an insult and imprisoned the scientist in his palace. For Alhazen, this was more than just a physical restriction. It was an attempt to stifle creativity itself. The days passed heavily on Alhazen, but he knew he had to escape. The mind that understood light and its secrets was the same mind that would enable him to find a way out. After much thought, he resorted to a dangerous trick, pretending to be mad. He began talking to himself, drawing incomprehensible symbols on the walls, and displaying strange behavior in front of the guards and everyone around him. Over time, he came to be seen as a man who had completely lost his mind. The news of his madness reached the Caliph himself, who no longer saw the point of keeping him imprisoned. He ordered him taken out and placed under limited house arrest in his home in Baghdad, thinking that Alhazen was no longer a threat. But in reality, this moment was the beginning of a new life for Alhazen. Once home, he immersed himself in his intellectual research once again. Behind closed curtains, within the walls of his simple home, he devoted himself to studying light and optics. He used every bit of his time to develop his ideas, defying the circumstances that tried to curb his knowledge. One quiet night, while candles lit the dim room, Alhazen made the most important discovery of his life. He began to develop theories about how the eye and vision work, and he realized that light was the key to understanding all of this. In the course of these researches, he wrote his book that would become immortal centuries later, The Book of Optics. In it, he set out his theories that changed humanity's view of understanding light and vision. But Alhazen's life was not all about research and discovery. The scientist, who had been escaping the eyes of the authorities, realized that he also needed to communicate his knowledge to future generations without incurring further risks. So he used secret methods to spread his ideas, through his trusted students or via coded messages. In his last moments, Alhazen was sitting alone again in the same room. His mind had never stopped working, and his heart had never completely surrendered to fear. He had accomplished his mission, laying the foundation for a new era of knowledge. But he did so out of the limelight because he knew that truth always found its way out, even if it had been hidden for so long behind the curtains. Thus ended the last journey of Alhazen ibn al-Haytham, but it was not the end. In every ray of light that our eyes fall upon the world around us, there resounds the echo of that first idea that dawned on the mind of a scientist whose limitations could not stand in his way.
هل أعجبكم الفيديو؟ شاركونا رأيكم ولا تنسوا الاشتراك لتكونوا جزءاً من عائلتنا.